Hi everyone, it's Michael Citron with the Citron Real Estate Group. We're here for another edition of Ask Michael Monday. This is episode 40, so I'm really excited about our 40th episode. We're here with Ryan Petty, who's running for Broward County School Board. And I wanted to ask Ryan, have him come on the show. You guys watch a lot of things online here, so I wanted to make sure we got some of the questions to him so he could answer them. I wanted to start off by asking you, why did you decide to run for Broward County School Board, and how do you feel you're the most qualified for the position among the other running mates?
Great. No, thank you for having me. It's
absolutely.
I guess it's an honor to be on the 40th episode. That's great. So here's to at least 40 more.
I hope so. Please.
So great to have the opportunity to talk about why I'm here and why I'm running. Look, I decided to run, Michael, because I recognized on February 14th, with the death of my daughter Elena at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, that the school board and school district are making life and death decisions for our students and for our teachers, and we need to have folks on the school board. We need to set policies and have people on the school board that will prioritize school safety. Every parent deserves to have their child come home when they send them to school. And unfortunately in Broward County, and this goes to why do I think I'm the best candidate for the role on the board, is we have not had school safety as a priority as a community, and with tragic consequences. But even looking beyond Parkland and what happened at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, when I announced for office, I got a flood of messages on Facebook and other social media, teachers reaching out to me saying, please help us. We feel we're afraid in our classrooms. And many of them had been victims of assault, and there really were no consequences. And so, look, this is an issue we've got to address. It's an issue that happens countywide, but if you don't address it, then we see the outcome. The outcome is what happened on February 14th at Marjory Stoneman Douglas. Okay.
The incumbent is Donna Korn. She's one of the ones you're running against. Stated that 2017-2018 was an amazing school year. What is your response to this? I know you've responded already, but I would like to hear your response.
Yeah, I've responded on social media. Look, I had the same reaction that every parent. This became a topic of discussion amongst the parents of the victims when we were stunned. We were literally stunned to hear those words. Unfortunately, April Shentrup was in the audience and had to hear it live. Completely, in my view, tone deaf to what happened. This was not the most amazing year for Broward County schools, regardless of how you want to position it. Were there good things that happened this year? Certainly, but they were overshadowed by the death of 17 wonderful individuals. 14 of those students who are no longer with us, including my daughter, contributing to society and all the wonderful things they would have done, and 3 wonderful teachers that are no longer with us, plus the 17 that were injured, plus the impact to the community, plus, this was not an amazing year by any stretch of the imagination, and it just exemplifies the lack of recognition by this school board of what's happened. And if you can't recognize what's gone wrong, it's really hard to fix it. It's almost impossible to fix it.
I agree with you. I think people who are in Broward County, you're running your office, everybody's voting, correct? Anybody in Broward County can vote for you?
I'm running for District 8 at large, which is the entire county.
So every person will have you on the ballot?
Everyone will have me on the ballot.
So obviously with Lori's, it's different. It's very important that people watching understand. If you know people in different cities in Broward County, it's important to know that Ryan's running for all of us. It's not just certain areas. So I agree with you. I think it's just shocking to see what somebody would respond to that. That's why I think there needs to be change on that board. And it's so important, for you as well as Lori and other people running for office, for this to be changed. We have so many people out, hitting the streets trying to get change for the board?
It's been so encouraging to see the support, and I think the one fear I've had the entire time is that what happened at Stoneman Douglas to my daughter Elena and to the other victims would just be over time forgotten. And that's really what happens over time when you see these other school shootings, is there's a flurry of activity and energy and focus, and then it dissipates. And that's been my biggest fear. And as a group of families and as a community, and the students have been wonderful, everybody has tried to keep the focus. And I think, unfortunately, the school board, they love nothing more than just to sort of let this fade into our collective memories, and we can't allow that to happen. We're here to say, this happened at Stoneman Douglas, but it could happen anywhere, and we need to take measures to prevent that.
I totally agree. Now, you've done a lot since obviously after the tragedy and before officially announcing. Please discuss some of the things you've worked on, the acts, the Stop the School Violence Act briefly, the Fix NICS Act, and other acts you're currently working on. So you've been working as soon as you started this in order to improve school safety. So please, so the audience knows what you've been doing already.
Yeah. So look, we could sort of bury our heads in our grief, and there have been days that I felt like doing that for sure. But there was an outpouring of support from the community, from the state, nationally, and it was energizing. And I think we went to Tallahassee. There were lots of folks from the community that went to Tallahassee. We worked very hard to get what became Senate Bill 7026. The Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act. We got that put in place in 3 weeks. Just 3 weeks after the shooting, we had new legislation, and really groundbreaking legislation for Florida, which included things like gun violence restraining orders, more money for mental health, and more money for armed security on campus. And it was, by some measures, some people thought it went too far, others thought it didn't go far enough, but it was nothing short of a miracle to get that through, and it was done in a very bipartisan way. We took that momentum and we went to DC, and there were some bills that were stuck, and we wanted to make sure that we lent our voice to making sure those got done. So Stop School Violence Act, we worked with Senator Nelson, Senator Rubio to get that done, among others. And then we worked on the Fix NICS Act, which which really had bipartisan support and was supported by the NRA, was supported by gun control groups. It was like this thing that everybody kind of agreed on, but we just couldn't get it unstuck. And so we went up there and we put our voices to that and got that one through. And then there's another one called the Eagles Act, Jake Laird Act, which will help fund more research by the Secret Service. They've got a group called the National Threat Assessment Center, and what they do is study these school shootings and mass shootings in general, and they've made recommendations around how to solve this. And so we encourage that one's one personally for me that has a ton of meaning, because I've grown close to the director of the National Threat Assessment Center, Dr. Alathari, and she's got a lot of really great answers for us on how we solve this sort of epidemic.
It's going to need to be a lot to fix this. What do you feel are the top improvements, if you get elected, needed to be implemented? Like, what will be your first? Obviously, you have these acts, but what do you feel overall? Obviously, school safety is what you're running on, your first primary concern. What some of the other things that need to be implemented besides your school safety?
Yeah, so I mean, on school safety and coming, really this proactive threat assessment that the Secret Service talks about, we really need to get that implemented in our schools. It's vital that we identify these threats early and do something about them. The shooter was the worst kept secret in Parkland, right? And the problem was we didn't share information, and we didn't therefore act on the threat. So that's one thing that if we could do nothing else, that would be my choice. There are things we need to do to harden the schools, single point of entry, controlling access to campus, improved video systems. Those are all things that are important to do too. And so those, from a school safety perspective, those are the things that I really want to focus on initially. I think the other challenges we have is, as a district, we are not, I'm sort of, the criticism is I'm a single issue candidate. Well, let me give you a couple of other issues we've got to tackle. One is, every child deserves a quality education in Broward schools, and we're not living up to that promise. And so we need to improve our academic performance. The way to do that, I think, is we've got to pay teachers what they deserve, right? And we've got to encourage and reward good teachers so we can retain them, and that will help us attract good teachers also. The magic all happens in the classroom, and we forget that sometimes, and we think it happens in the administrative building or in a board meeting. Those are almost irrelevant to what really we need to focus on is making sure our funding gets into those classrooms and we have the best teachers. That's how we solve that. And then again, the posture of the district, in my mind, transparency and accountability up and down the chain, from everything from school safety to how we spend our money to whether or not we're performing adequately in academics. Transparency and accountability is how is the mechanism that we've got to get there, and we've got to change the culture. The culture in the school district is not one of transparency or accountability.
So understand the culture that Ryan's saying. There's 5 seats that of the 9. So if I hope that would mean that if 5 people are elected,
right,
that change could be made. But if they're not, there still could be change made just by having more people elected on the board. I really feel it's important that voters, in all districts, but I mean, Ryan, you can, certainly is going to be on everybody's ballot, but wherever you're located, it's really a time to research the candidates, to learn about it, because this can happen again. And I think there's so many other issues that have really dropped the ball. Like, I believe kids are starting on Wednesday school, and it's not safe. It's not as safe as it should be.
Right.
And it's really been buzzing in Parkland and Coral Springs right now, but it could happen anywhere. And I think we shouldn't just briskly move forward and try to go back to business as usual. So it's really been important for us. I mean, I'm a real estate agent, but I live in Parkland. I'm a concerned citizen. And we've been bringing on the candidates that are running for Parkland Commission, for people with school board. I'm here to have you. Come on. I'm not just like John, who's doing the candidates and cars. I want to be able to hear people's voices, because we need change. And it's not safe. The kids are not safe going back. It's not good enough. And I'm not going to take it as a taxpayer. That's why I want to take my time to become informed, to have Ryan come on. But I want people to know. I mean, I'm upset. And I know a lot of people are upset, and that's why I appreciate you doing this. As I said, little has been done to improve school safety. It bothers me because kids start on school on Wednesday, and it's not safe enough. It's not right. If elected, would you recommend the removal of Robert Runcie?
So this question, I get this question a lot, and here's what I'll say. I'm looking for the superintendent to demonstrate leadership. First of all, I'd like Superintendent Runcie to acknowledge mistakes were made, first and foremost, because I think that's how we get down a path where we identify what happened and what went wrong. We have to acknowledge it, and then we can begin the process of fixing it. And I'm looking for that leadership in Mr. Runcie. So I hope that I see something different than I've seen the past. It's been 6 months now. And I haven't seen the leadership yet. I'm hoping to see it, and I will make my decision after the election, to be honest with you. I know there are folks on both sides. Some would love to have me say, yes, let's get rid of him, and others would love to see him stay around. But what I need to see from him starting today, even before the election, is leadership on this issue of school safety and holding people accountable.
I agree. I appreciate you coming on. To find more information, how would somebody contact you? Tell them about voting, early voting. Tell them what you need to be elected, or please go through that. So
we'll go through the process as I understand.
Kind of a little confusing.
First time I've run, so I may get a few things wrong. But you can find out more about me at voteryanpetty.com. I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/voteryanpetty. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're everywhere. Early voting starts this week, and the primary is August 28th. And what I'd love nothing more than to win on August 28th in the county. That's going to be a difficult with 3 in the race. But if you get 50% plus 1 vote, then the election's over on August 28th. Otherwise, you go to the general election in November.
So you heard more. Please share this video. It's the best way for people. I think, so many people here in Parkland are a little bit more informed about, obviously it's very close to home, this issue. I think it needs to expand to as many people within the county. So if you have friends in all cities in our county, please share this video, like it. It's very informative. Research, get out there, because I feel that, as well as many people in Broward County feel, that change needs to be made so we can work on these issues, because it needs to start at Stoneman Douglas. It needs to. As much as all the other schools are going to implement change, if this comes here, and it needs to be here. It needs to start here, because those kids go back Wednesday. They're not as safe as they should be. And I know there's been improvements made, but it needs to start at the top. And I think Robert Runstay, I'd love him to come on my show. I would love to have a conversation with him, because I think change needs to be made immediately. And I'm excited for you voting. So please look up Ryan. Any questions you have, if you post anything here after you watch this live video, Ryan will be happy to answer it, just like you did at John's, Candidates and Cars. And I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
me. Yep.
Have a great night with your family.